Hey guys, Enzo here from Home Theatre Engineering. Today we have another room tour. This one is a little bit unique, a little bit different. We are in the middle of essentially the outback. This was a client brief that came to us. It is a shared property where they have kind of one room that everyone uses, and the brief was a little bit different. But we'll go in, we'll have a look, and we'll go through basically all the details in the room. So let's have a look. Here we are. So, the most common asked question is, what dimensions are in that room? That basically we'll do that straight away. So this is a 7.150 long by 4.5 just under, and it's about 3 meters at the highest point, 2.4 at the back. We do have two risers. It's quite a steep cinema, as you can tell. The briefing here was it obviously had to fit quite a few people. We were a little bit limited on the width of the room, so we've opted for 4 chairs at the back of the room, 3 in the middle, 3 at the front. Chairs, weapon of choice. We get this asked a lot. What do you use? We use the row 1 chairs, and it's between kind of the Ambassador and the Evolutions, which is what's in here. And there's a reason why. Reliability, customer service, and aftercare. Phenomenal, okay? And the product itself is flawless. It's got cup holders, it's got trays, as you can see. It's got storage compartments as well. And it's got USB to be able to charge your devices. Very, very plush, very, very comfortable. Inclines into itself. So in spaces where it's tight and we don't have a lot of room, these are great. Alright, so that's our seating weapon of choice. I guess the biggest thing we find is when we do the initial brief with a client, they'll go, this is my room, or in some instances, their rooms are probably haven't even been built yet. And we look at the space and we go, all right, we can straight away, because we've done so many of these, see that there's some issues, okay? And some of those issues are the width of the room, the length of the room. What we try and achieve as a certified business, and doing a lot closely with HIA and everything, is that we want to try and get the best sound everywhere. A lot of people will go, yeah, but it's me that sits in this sweet spot, no one else. And that's okay. But we always try to go, well, hold on, let's try the hardest that we can. And it is challenging because in some rooms where we don't have the length, the back seats go hard up against the back wall, and we don't really like to do that. In fact, in this job, we actually tried to talk them out of the back row, and just like a high table, it really got everyone off the back wall. And if you did have that many people, they could just sit at the high table. The client did opt for the chairs, and look, we can make it work as best as possible. The challenges are, though, that obviously you need to walk through, you need to try and get off the back wall. One of the reasons why we choose these chairs is because of the fact that they have a low profile in width and depth, and they sink into themselves. So that tends to help a lot. I think the most important factor is always challenging is thinking about the width of the room versus how many chairs you're after. With a lot of rooms only being 4 to 4.5 meters wide on average, a 4-seater couch can be anywhere from 3.2 to 3.8. That doesn't leave you a lot of space. And the biggest problem we find is that, like if my best mate here, Billy, right, was sitting, if this was a 4-seater couch, his head would be right where that speaker is. And the problem is that he's going to be copying too much of that surround. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, why don't you turn that surround down? The problem is the person here and that person are going to suffer if that's turned down, and vice versa. The idea is balance and trying to plan this properly and trying to look at what equipment suits the room. This is why packs don't work. This is why you can't just buy product and go, yep, that's going to work in your house. Chances are 80% of the time it won't. And you end up spending a lot more money trying to fix those errors. And we see that all the time. So guys, this is, chairs. As stupid as it sounds, they're actually quite important, to be honest. And, we do spend a lot of time in the design process engaging with people, trying to determine how many people are going to sit in that space. Where do you normally sit in the cinema? Where do you like to sit? Where do you like to sit in conjunction to a screen? And realistically, how many people are always going to be in that space? For the 1 or 2 times that you might have people over a year or a month, that's the type of compromises and the decisions we need to make. So yeah, cheers. If we go to the front of the room, we basically tends to do lately a combination of either 16:9 or 235. We tend to find at the moment probably the most popular ratio is the 16:9, which is more due to the fact that a lot of films now with 16:9 235 with IMAX and things like Dark Knight or Aquaman where it changes. And if people aren't using anamorphic lenses or lumigens to kind of resolve that, then you kind of have to make a decision on what screen you go for. So this is a 150-inch acoustically transparent. It's a woven material. It's a subversion screen. Being 150-inch, we needed as much throw as possible, and the client wanted a big screen. And with our BenQ X12000H at the back of the room, which is our weapon of choice that we show in a lot of our jobs, it does Rec 709 and which is your full HD and your 4K BT 2020 extremely well. And because of that's quite a large projector, obviously we need to do the calculations and make sure that everything works. And we needed to push the screen back a little bit. So a lot of people will go, why is there a lip on that cabinet? Obviously the equipment can only be housed in this space at the front of the room. This cinema sits alone in the complex. It's not part of a house or anything. It's a standalone building. So we couldn't put the equipment anywhere else. So the front of that is 550, and then the back is 250 from memory to 300 mils. And that is hiding the front speakers behind the screen. Talking about speakers, the speakers we're running in here are Procellers. Surprise, surprise. We're not brand biased. We do like to work with particular brands, and we know why, and they hit the reference. They're reliable. Again, the distributor's great to work with, and they just sound fantastic. And bang for buck, they're just phenomenal. So we are running 3 Proceller P6s at the front here, and we are running a P5 Vs on the side surrounds and back surrounds. And the reason I say V, we go the vertical version because they are narrower as a speaker, which allows us to essentially hide them in the acoustic panels. Okay. So with this room here, there are 3 at the front. There are basically 7 in total on the baseline, and we've got some speakers in the acoustic panels. Now the acoustic panels themselves, they are a HT product. We do make these panels ourselves with our cabinet maker, and they all look the same. Okay, and they have, depending on when we do the measurements and the calculations and the design concept, we have to work out with reflections where everything goes, and that determines which panel's what. So there is a combination of absorption, diffusion, and we tend to just hide them behind the fabric. You can't really tell which one's which, obviously, in this instance, but there is a combination of those there. Moving to the back of the room, like I said, we do have 2 panels that are hiding the 2 rear surround speakers, which again are Proceller P5Vs. Alright. And we have some DC2 diffusion at the back of the room also. So we'll pan around and have a good look at those. Alright. Probably the most commonly asked question as well in equipment is, what are you doing with Atmos? So with Atmos, the original concept here was to go 6 Atmos. We have only started with 4. They are the Proceller P5s. So not the Vs, because the Vs are narrower and longer. These are just more a traditional bookshelf type product. And we've got 4 of those. So again, designed, measured, calculated where they need to go in relation to Dolby specification, THX, and the HAA that we follow quite closely. We started this off as a gold class type cinema range. It was scaled back just because the client obviously was building and budgets had completely blown out. So this ideally is a 9.4.6 cinema. It is currently a 7.2.4 cinema. And we've got some foundations set up and some prep work where basically as we upgrade, it's just plug and play and off we go. We'll move to the front and have a look at the equipment. Because this is scaled down a little bit, we have got an Anthem MRX 1120 in here at the moment, which acts as the brains of the room. It's the amplifier / processor. That runs essentially the rears and the Atmos. And then we have the MCA 325 3-channel that runs your front 3. That's giving them around 225 watts per channel, and really giving a lot of love and power to those front LCRs. The idea with that, you should never really run all your channels off one receiver, and we're trying to get as much power and reference to the sweet spot without any distortion, obviously. We do have an Apple TV in here, 4K Apple TV. We do have a UB9000. We really like the UB9000. It does handle HDR a lot better than a lot of the other players. It is expensive. I know that's what everyone's going to say straight away, but in relation to everything else, it's not. So we do run Control 4 in here as well. I'll just grab that. So pretty straightforward. Hit watch, hit Blu-ray, hit Apple TV, switches, lights go off. Okay, flawless, easy. We can service it from anywhere in the world ultimately and check on it and make sure that it's working well. So that's those there. Subwoofers. We've gone through a whole series of subwoofers lately. Andrew likes to whip out his tool and measure things and make sure that we're getting really flat, really great, not boomy subwoofers, but subwoofers that are going to give you detail and actually give you an idea of the way the director intended how the bass should sound. And we'll do a video on subs because I know everyone's been asking for one. You shouldn't be able to pinpoint where subs are in the room, but you should be able to feel whatever's happening, obviously, on screen. Best example, in one of our videos, there was some oil on the water, fire starts, the fire travels, and the bass travels, and you should be able to feel that. And that's the whole idea of why we tend to always use 2 to 4 subs in a room. It's not about loud, it's not about bang, it's not a car stereo, it's just about getting that balance and that detail in the bass. Okay, so we are running 2 subs at the moment. They are REL 1205s, which are essentially a middle of the range REL product. Up from that, you go to the REL Predators, which are double the price and a lot bigger. But again, we have to stick to a budget. We do have foundations here to go to 4 subs. We've got 2 wide at the back of the room as well. And some options to obviously upgrade the room as time progresses. I think that's pretty much it. We've covered pretty much everything. There were some issues like any room. No room's perfect. But we had to kind of work with what we had. A lot of them here was the fact that it's not a double brick home. It's an insulated type product and a little bit different to what we're used to working with. We've got the windows that were here already in the room that by council standards they need to be there. So we do have some HT acoustic panels that ultimately, we call them a pillow, a cushion, which has our product in it. We wrap it and we just push it into the window. And the only other downside, because this building is standalone, was the aircon. It's not like you could share it with the rest of the products outside and the rest of the house. So it is a split system. In a way, split systems actually are better in a lot of cinemas because we don't have to worry about recycled air with doors being closed and return air. But they are ugly to look at. So the idea is that we'll probably end up either painting that or putting a box around it. Take it from there. So guys, that's pretty much about it. Again, this room will probably slowly change over time and evolve. But if you have any questions and anything, please put them below. And by all means, contact us if you've got a room very similar or you have any questions or you want advice. Obviously, we're here to help if we can. It's a fantastic room. It sounds fantastic. And even though we had to scale it back, it's still bloody damn impressive. And again, the reason being is because it's designed, it's certified, it's calculated, and ticks all the HT boxes. That is the biggest part of what we do. It separates us from everyone else. And, it doesn't matter whether it's a 20, 30, 50, 80, $500,000 cinema, we treat them all the same. So that's it, guys. We'll come up with another room tour. And we'll just show some images at the moment. I'll probably dim the lights, get it all intimate, and we'll show you some content. Alright, so you saw, I mean on camera it's very hard to kind of see, but you saw how good it looked on camera. It's a phenomenal picture, the details there, the colours there. Yeah, look, I mean this has come out really well and sounds fantastic, even though it was you guys are behind on your phone or on a laptop or iPad. So that's it, guys. This is one of many room tours to come. Like, subscribe, please comment, share, and let's build this channel up. The more we build this channel, the more content we can provide you guys. So there'll be more stuff coming soon, and we'll speak and chat soon. Thanks.